Welcome to From Mess to Message, a journey to purpose. Today we have with us Jenesia Fuller, the Cupcake Lady. Welcome to From Mess to Message, Jenesia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, first of all, let's find out a little bit about you. Tell us where you're from. Who are you?
I'm from the British Virgin Islands, Tortola to be exact, and I have 4 children, 2 of which have autism, and I have amazing cupcakes.
Okay. So, tell us a little bit, how old are your kids?
My oldest son is 19, I have a 16-year-old daughter, 11-year-old son, and an 8-year-old son also.
So when did you gain this passion for making these sweet treats?
Actually, I've always baked. I've always loved making cupcakes, but I've never shared the cupcakes. When Christian was diagnosed, it was very hard for me to work, so I had to find a way to make money. And the children actually suggested, "Mom, sell your cupcakes. They're delicious." I didn't think they were that good, but they were right. They caught on pretty quickly. So that's how my cupcakes got started.
And so with each, because you have such an array
I do.
of flavors, what is your inspiration for choosing these flavors?
Actually, I started out with the basics. It depended on what the person loved. They would say something like, "Ooh, I'm having a party and the color theme is red, blue, orange." And I would literally sit there and say, "Well, orange, tangerine, blue, raspberry, let's see what it tastes like together." And I would just start mixing. And then the decorations would just make sense.
Yes.
And then it was poof, finished.
I remember having one of your cupcakes, and you said, I love when you had said it to the kids. You said, there's a little treat inside of everyone.
Yes.
And that is so unique because you bite into it.
And you don't know what you're going to get.
And you never know. It's a mystery.
Exactly.
Now, you said you started this business because of your kids.
Yes.
Let's go a little deeper into it. You said Christian. Now, Christian is
He's
your
the baby.
youngest?
Yes.
And how old is he?
Christian's 8.
He's 8.
Yes.
So what made you leave? Because you had a regular job.
I was a
and then you had to...
I had to stop. Christian's care required 24/7, as far as I was concerned, where it was either work or Christian.
Yes.
And it would be day after day. I need you to come home. I need you to come get him. We don't know what to do. He was in regular daycare, so they weren't equipped and they weren't trained. So I decided the only way I could take care of Christian properly was to do it myself.
Yes.
So I quit my job and I just focused on Christian. And it's been over 5 years now that I've quit my job and just been focusing on Christian. But it was so worth it.
Okay.
Like, he's awesome.
Yeah. So you said you have 2 kids.
Yes.
Who are artistic.
Who are actually on the spectrum, but technically just one now because Asperger's is not on the spectrum anymore. It's now classified as high functioning. So yes, but.
And where does Christian fall on the spectrum?
Christian is on the limited verbal, which is kind of interesting because in the beginning he was classified non-verbal, and they didn't think that he was really going to speak, potty train, all these different things, and I was not having it because autism is autism, but Christian is Christian first.
Exactly.
So he can walk, he can talk, he can understand. The thing is, you can't talk to Christian like everybody else. You have to understand Christian's level.
Yes.
And at times I can tell him something like, go to the bathroom and take a bath. I have to put it into steps. First, go into the bathroom, then take off your clothes. Wait for mommy before you get into the tub. And he will wait for me and be ready with every step. But if I would have just give him everything in one, he'd be confused.
Yes.
So it's all about learning what he understands and what makes him tick.
What was, at what age did you notice a difference in him?
Christian was like every other child. They develop fast, start making sounds early, crawling, everything on time. Physically, his milestones were on point. But I would notice around maybe 8 or 9 months that his eye contact was just not there. He would never look at me, and it began to get worse. He would always hyper-focus on one thing. For example, if there was a car in the room, a toy car, he wouldn't drive the car like a typical child. He would flip it over and spin the wheels. So he was very hyper-focused on specific things that spun, things that made loud noises, whether it was slamming the cabinet door over and over again. again. I later learned that that was for his own personal stimulation. He's very sensory oriented.
Yes.
If he would love your sweater. He would like to rub on it. He likes fabrics.
Yes.
So Christian's very sensory. Yes.
And the difference between your oldest and Christian, what was the difference in signs?
Oh, wow.
with them?
Christian stopped everything. Around 8 months old, Christian was doing everything he was supposed to, crawling, sit him up, standing, getting ready to take steps. And then one day we noticed that in addition to the eye contact and the, focusing on one thing at a time, Christian would just scream and nobody would know why. And he would fan his arms at the time. That's what I called it, but it's actually called flapping, and that would be his way of telling us he was excited, he was upset, or whatever extreme emotion it is. But at the time, I had no idea.
Okay.
Christian also started differentiating between surfaces. For example, if he came from the bedroom to the kitchen where there was carpet to tile, he would completely freeze and not know what to do. The differences, and I would just be like, okay, none of my other 3 children did that. So not that I knew what was happening, but I know there was something different.
Yes.
So
yes.
I started paying attention, and then I would get a report saying that he wasn't eating the food that I was sending for him to school. He just stopped everything he was doing. He stopped.
Yes.
He would only eat foods now that were bland, white. His rice has to be white, no seasoning. His yogurt has to be vanilla, plain. Everything has to be what it is, and nothing extra, nothing added. Those were the signs mostly for me, because like I said, with the potty training, I didn't make it an issue. We're going to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
So it was the eye contact, it was the screaming, the crying, and he wouldn't use words anymore. He went from saying dada and almost mama to nothing, to just drooling, babbling, grunting. There was a lot of grunting, a lot of pointing, but no more words. It just completely stopped.
So at what age was he diagnosed?
Diagnosed. It was about 8 months when we noticed, and I was working at the daycare, so I was on it. By 12 months old, Christian had a diagnosis.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I immediately asked for early intervention and psychological evaluation, because something, I didn't know what it was. I had to find out. So yeah, by 11 months, 12 months old, he was diagnosed with autism.
And when he was diagnosed autistic, what changed in the household? What was something that was, and not just the minor change, what was a major change in your household that everybody had to adjust to?
Everybody had to learn Christian's language. I can fast forward a little bit, maybe a few months. Christian's very smart. So before he was able to read, he was always able to point at exactly what he wanted. So I didn't agree with him standing in front of a refrigerator, for example, and just screaming until you figured out that he was hungry. So I started with pictures. I would take the pictures of the food that he wanted, for example, and I'll put them on the refrigerator. And I had a sign that meant I want, and I had the pictures, so it was in order, and then the sign that meant thank you. So that's how we started him off. As he got older and fell in love with reading, we changed the pictures for words. So it would say something like, all our names on the side, Raymond, Sienna, Paul, Christian, or Mom. We would point to it, so he would have to pick who he was talking to, because he read very well. And then the pictures of the food became words of the food. So beef patty, potato tots, yoo-hoo, whatever it was. And it'd be followed by the word please. So he learned how to ask for what he wanted without this. And now everybody knows Christian's language or what Christian wants. So now we don't have to figure out, why is he screaming? Why is he throwing a tantrum? It was easy to figure him out then.
Now, the one thing that I noticed that you're constantly saying is we.
Yes.
We. And a lot of times when a child is diagnosed with special needs, we just give the parents.
Oh, yeah.
We have a special thing where we just get the parents and we train the parents, but we don't incorporate the family.
The family, specifically the mom,
Yes. So how was it difficult to get the family on board and everybody doing the exact same thing? Because we know that people with special needs or trauma or whatever, they need consistency. And they don't need consistency just from one place. They need consistency all across the board.
Yes. That was actually not hard, because my children are amazing. Example, my oldest son, without my oldest two, first of all, I don't think I would have been able to do this as well as I have, the
Yes.
baking and going to school and dealing with Christian and picking him up off the bus or putting him on the bus. When I made the announcement that I was not going to be working anymore and everything else, and you guys have to learn this new language with Christian, and you have to be patient. There's no saying shut up in my house. There's no saying, these different things.
Yes.
They all fell in line.
Yeah.
And I would notice that my daughter in particular, she took my role, and she would specifically, when I'm not around, she makes sure everything goes,
Yes.
like how
Yes.
it's supposed to go. So they all speak the language, the same language to Christian. We all speak the same language. When he's screaming, for example, tantruming, we all know to not give in to him, but Christian, use your words.
Yes.
And the rule is nobody gives in until he uses his words. So I know that even when I'm not there, he's getting the same treatment as when I am there. And all of them do the same thing, down to Paul.
Yes.
They all know how to deal with Christian.
So is Christian in a well, first of all, where do you live in New York?
We're in East New York.
You're in East
Yes.
New York. Did you find that the care in regards to his school and all that stuff, did you find that it was adequate for his needs, or did you have to literally go in and say, listen, this is what I need?
It was absolutely adequate. The issue with the care in East New York is that it's not in your face. If you don't know someone who knows someone, you'll end up with your autistic child perhaps in a regular school with people who are not specifically trained to deal with autism or special needs. And then sometimes these children get misdiagnosed with behavioral disorders and control issues. It's usually, a lot of the times, everybody doesn't have ADHD.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And if they would take the time to just maybe do the correct evaluation, because it was easy to get Christian evaluated. He was little.
Yes.
But for Paul, for example, I had to call everybody that I knew that worked for the Board of Ed or anything else, because Paul's IQ was through the roof. So they weren't looking at his social skills. They were only looking at what he brought to the school. So I had to search on my own. I found different agencies. We've been different places for evaluations till eventually we found the right place, and they had a specific evaluation for Asperger's, specific evaluation for autism, PDD, NOS. They were specific, and that's the issue. You can't go to your pediatrician and say, oh, my son is babbling and he shouldn't be, or he's chewing on the wheels. They might recommend some kind of therapy, but they're not the ones who diagnose them. You need a psychological evaluation, and that usually comes through your school, and it's so easy to get. Thing is, there's a stigma attached to the word autism, and that's my issue. Children with autism are the same as any other child.
Yes.
Just like if you might have a child that learns a different language from another country and they're here, don't you have to learn their language, how to communicate?
Precisely.
It's the same thing. You find their strength, and then you just kind of build them up according to their personality. Christian's loud, he's aggressive, and he loves words.
Yes.
So that works for him. You
Yes.
just look at your child. Another child might be quiet, but they might enjoy working with things. You got to find what they like. If they like blocks, give them lots of blocks.
Yes.
If they like books, give them lots of books.
Yes.
And just encourage them. Don't speak to them in a special way. If the way you want them to speak and carry themselves outside is how you speak to them. Because as far as I'm concerned, you're not equipping them properly. What if you're not there with them?
Exactly.
What do they do?
Yeah.
So that's...
I remember the first time we met,
Yes.
which was in
HCC,
church, and I
yes.
was teaching.
school.
Teaching Sunday school,
Yes, you are.
and I remember you said to me, I have a highly autistic child, and I would love for him to experience
Yes,
Sunday
Sunday
school.
school.
And I said to you, bring him,
Yeah, I was so happy.
bring him, because it was just like, I believe that every child, no matter what their disability, because
Yes.
I myself, I went through my whole life being labeled and told that I was
can't.
special ed, I was emotionally disturbed, I was all these
Labeled.
things. They just labeled me, but didn't give me the adequate tools to understand what they were calling me.
Exactly.
So in other words, I fell through the crack.
Got it.
And I am so grateful to meet someone like you who is willing to advocate, because that's one of the things that's so important for our young people.
Yes.
And I think we're losing it in our society now, is to advocate for our children.
Absolutely. You have to.
Advocate. And even if you're not able to, find the knowledge. Find someone who already knows. Find someone who has a child that
Exactly.
identifies like yours.
Exactly.
Find out what they go through. And that is why I wanted to sit down and speak with you, so that we can just show, all it takes is for us to gain the knowledge.
Take your time.
All it takes is for us to get to know
Yes,
each other.
absolutely.
And because we put each other in particular
Categories,
boxes,
yes.
and not everybody belong in the
Nope.
same block.
Exactly.
And so I'm excited. I'm excited about you and what you've done. Tell us about your oldest son now, because he is just
boy.
really making feats. Like he's about to do
Yes,
it. Please.
Raymond, my oldest, he's
Raymond,
19,
yes.
and that's my right arm, and she's my left arm, but he's my right arm. Raymond is getting ready to leave the Army.
Yeah.
On the 19th of July. I don't know how I feel about that. I just know that he's through the moon about it, so am I.
Yes.
Okay? Whatever my reservations were, he doesn't have them, so I'm not going to put them on him.
Exactly.
God bless. I will be praying for you, and go chase your dream.
Yeah.
He plays an amazing alto sax, as you know.
Yes.
Raymond had his little battle, but a little hyperactive, hyperactive, he never kill anybody, you know?
Yeah.
He just, that's where the music came from for Raymond. For Raymond, it was, okay, what's his passion? What is he like? When is he quiet? When he's on the saxophone,
Yes.
when he's on the piano, when he's on the, anything. He just took a guitar class last semester just because he wanted to learn another instrument. It was amazing. You would think he was born playing this guitar.
Yes.
He's just musically gifted, and that was the key for Raymond. Everybody to this day asks me, is your son still bad? I hate that word bad. But they still ask me to this day, because Raymond was that guy. As cool and calm as he is today, he was absolutely opposite. I couldn't get a babysitter anywhere.
That's me. That's me too.
To see him just so settled and so focused and so grounded, God is good.
Yeah.
And my children are blessed. I'm
Yes.
very grateful.
Yes.
Very grateful.
What out of all of this that you've been through with the kids, what would you say, because I know it has not all been a bed of roses.
Oh, no.
What has been your most difficult and trying time that you could tell somebody, to encourage them to push past?
Oh boy, not knowing what you are going to feed your children at the end of the day is difficult. Maybe that's why I cook so much. I can't cook a little bit of food, but we've been let's just say, I thank God that everything that we were going through, we did not look like it, because we were hungry, we were homeless, we were in the shelter, domestic violence, you name it. We've been there, but God has been merciful, and we don't look like we've been through that. So amen. That was my most trying time, not knowing when my children were going to sleep, and not knowing what they want to eat. But I always made sure I prayed, and I just knew that something was going to give, because, okay, we made it to the shelter. There has to be something else. So that's what I taught them. If we're having noodles, guys, the 1 pack is for 5. You understand? If we're having 1 cupcake, we will cut it into 5. But we will not go to bed hungry. And that's it. But that was my most trying time, not knowing what they were going to eat or where they were going to sleep. But once my children are smiling and their belly's full, I could do anything.
That's it.
So
That's it.
Cupcakes, even if you eat cupcakes, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. What advice would you give a mother who has a child who has been labeled or told that they have this or that? What advice would you give them? What steps? Give me 3 major steps that you could tell someone that they need to do right away.
Number 1, stop listening to everybody. Everybody was in my ear. He needs a spanking. This is wrong with him. Try this. Oh, leave him with me for a week and I'll fix him. Yeah, don't listen to people, because you'll go crazy. You understand? Listen to your doctor, okay? And follow the steps to get them a proper evaluation. You understand? Don't label them. Don't allow people to tell you what your child can and cannot do. Like I said, they said Christian would not be potty trained. I am not doing that. So Christian went to the toilet, okay? You had to figure out what was, best for him to make him go. But don't listen to anybody, and make sure you go and get a professional evaluation. Don't just have somebody tell you they have to take medication. Don't let anybody put your child on drugs. If it's not necessary, which I believe is not necessary before it is. Christian doesn't take medicine. But there have been lots of times that we can give you a prescription for that to calm him down. Calm him into what? To take his personality away? That hyperactivity is Christian. So my best advice would be, first of all, listen to your own heart and pray about it. You understand? Don't let people tell you what to do with your children, including the doctors, okay? And then at the end of the day, you know your child best. So just take your time and work with your child, be patient, and that's it. You know your child's personality better than anybody else. Focus on your kids. You understand? Try to understand what they need, not what other people are telling you that you should be giving them. Because if I listen to everybody, oh boy, let's just say Christian would not be smiling as much as he is now. Okay, you have to just block it out. I've been on a train, he's been rocking, or do you know, before I quit the job, we had to wait sometimes for 3 and 4 trains to go by, because knowing how he is and knowing how people are who didn't understand it, they're very judgmental and they say things out loud. And if you're nervous, and that me before I knew what was going on, I was strong enough with information to stand up for Christian. It would make me sad to hear somebody say, why is he doing that? Staring at him. Oh, why is he making that sound? You understand? And I just found different ways to deal with it. Okay, so this is how it is on the train. We will let 5 trains go by if that's what it takes for my Chris to be comfortable on the train and not stared at or not ridiculed. So patience. We have to be patient, because every day is going to be a little bit more difficult than the next, but you'll be stronger and more equipped to deal with it if you do it on your own terms. Don't let anybody tell you how to deal with your child. You know best. You know best.
Well, in a minute we are going to, we were going to talk to Christian, but you know what, you're talking about the family and they're here.
They are.
And so we're going to actually take a moment and actually bring the whole family in so we can introduce them to everyone.
Yes.
And but before we do that, if there was one thing you can tell anyone going through the process, going through the journey, going through their mess to message journey, if there's anything you can tell them that can help them push through and push past, what would that be?
From mess to message. We all have messes. The thing is, it's how you handle your mess. Your mess could be anything, anywhere, but you have to be faithful, and you have to know that you will make it through the mess. You understand? And on the inside, for me, I have to be spiritually strong, because I swear, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't have grace at all, okay? Because sometimes you look to your left and all these people who say, oh, don't worry, I'll help you. They're not always available to help you. We all have lives. So you have to learn to be strong on your own, and that comes from inside. From mess to message, which mess would you like me to choose? Lots of messes, but don't get stuck in your mess. You understand? It's temporary. You're always going to have a mess. We have messes every day, but don't get stuck in the mess. You got to clean this one up, because there's another mess waiting for you for tomorrow. So you can't avoid the messes. You understand? But if you make it through, you'll get to the message. There's always a message at the end of your mess. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So now we're going to take a moment and we're going to bring in the family. So if you give us a moment, by the time we come back, we'll have the whole family here with us. Stay tuned.
Bye.
How are you? How old are you, Christian?
How old are you, Christian? I am.
I am.
How many years old?
I am Christian.
8 years old.
8 years old.
8 years old, and we are so happy to have you guys today. I know you guys are proud of your mom. I know you are, because I am too, and I'm proud of all the wonderful things that she does, not only just with the cupcakes, but she also feeds the community. She goes out every week and feed the community. So we're grateful that you guys took the time to come and visit with us, and we have nothing but love for you guys.
Thank you.
Jenesia, I've been sitting here looking at these oh Lord, my mouth watering, my stomach was making some noise. So first, what is the name of your company?
For now, we're working with Tasha's Cupcakes and Empanadas.
Oh yeah, and them empanadas.
Don't forget the
Oh man. But okay, now we have all these delectable delights in front of us. Just a few. So tell us a little bit, what is this one right here?
That is pineapple coconut.
Pineapple
coconut cupcake with almond cream cheese frosting and coconut and a cute little cherry on top.
And the next one on the next level
that's
there.
red velvet.
Red velvet. No surprises,
No,
just red
just
velvet.
red velvet.
And this one here?
That's the amazing carrot cake.
Carrot cake. And then the one there with the mushrooms.
The little marshmallow one.
Marshmallow.
Like a little cup of hot chocolate. So that's my hot cocoa cupcake.
Hot cocoa cupcake.
The ones in the front are variations of lemonade.
And it's the same thing with these up here.
Strawberry lemonade.
Strawberry lemonade.
Yes.
And then everything is right
and then
there.
Everything, yes.
So now, do you only make the minis?
I make regular size and minis.
And minis.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now let's say I wanted to get some of these delicious delights.
Okay.
How can we find you? Where can we find you?
You can contact me through Facebook or my contact information.
Yes, please tell people where they can find these
You
things.
can reach me at genesiafuller@gmail.com and you can place your order.
Okay.
At least 24 to 48 hours notice, and I'll make you a delicious cupcake.
So what we are going to do, we're going to make sure that you get all this information so you too can experience what I've experienced many, many times, and so many kids that I know have experienced, because these treats are delectable, delightful, and just delicious.